Please observe, I want to print a pattern. This is the pattern I supposed to print. 5 rows are there. In every row, 5 columns are there. In every column, I am printing the same element, that is 0. In every column, I am printing same number, that is 0. A particular display pattern, square, number of rows are 5, number of columns are 5. In every column, 0 has to print. I am choosing rows as a 5, columns as a 5. Row count starting from 1, going till to 5. Every time we are incrementing 1. For every row count, inner for loop for columns purpose. For first row, column count 1 to column count 5. But it is printing 0 without a new line. In the same line, keep printing 5 zeros. After printing 5 zeros, then only println. After println, going to the second row. Second row. In the second row also, first column 0, second column again 0, third column again 0. In the same row, keep printing 0, 0, 0. Whenever 5 zeros are printed in the second line, go to the next line. In the next line again 0, 0, 0. Likewise, for every row, 5 zeros through inner loop, then only new line. Go to the second row, through inner for loop, 5 times zeros, then go to the next line. Then, in the next row again, outer for loop is for rows purpose, inner for loop is for columns purpose. For every row, 5 columns, then new line. You can just compile and run. One small observation here. Number of rows, number of columns are same, but in case of display, it is not looking like a perfect square. It is looking like a rectangle. Height is more rather than width. The reason is, between the rows, space is there. Between the columns, no space. With respect to number of rows and number of columns, it's a 5 and 5 perfect square. With respect to display, it looks like a height is more rather than width. A small change in the pattern too. I want to print 0 space in every column. Every column should be 0 and also a space in order to get perfect square display. This is the perfect square display. If you want to get a perfect square display, you have to print 0 and space in every column. Same for loops. Outer for loop for the rows purpose, inner for loop for the columns purpose. For every column, print 0 and space. Second column again 0 and space. Third column 0 and space. Print method printing two characters, 0 then space. Likewise, 5 times inner for loop is iterating, printing the content in the same line, then go to the next line, then only going to the next line. In the next line again, 5 times through inner for loop, every time 0 with a space in the same line. After executing inner for loop, then only println. You can just to compile and run. Let us see third pattern. I want to print a square display. Element only changing. Earlier element was a 0. Now element is a star. How to print square with stars? Same number of rows, number of columns. Number of rows are same, number of columns also same. We have to print star. You can see the inner for loop print statement. Star then space. Star then space. Two characters we are printing under double quotes. Star then space. Only system.out.print is changing. Earlier it was a 0 plus then space. 0 was a literal, it's a digit. You can able to print straight away. Star cannot be printed straight away. You have to print a star through a single quote or under double quote. I'm keeping under double quote itself along with a space. Under double quotes, two characters are there. One is a star, second one is a space. You can compile and run. You can see. This is another pattern. First row 5 times 1. Second row 5 times 2. Third row 5 times 3. Fourth row 5 times 4. Last row 5 times 5. Row wise data changing. Earlier it was 0 or a star in every row. But now first row one element, second row another element, third row another element. But in a particular row, same element 5 times. In the first row count is 1. In the second row count is 2. In the third row count is 3. Row count 1, row count 2. Straight away print the row count instead of printing 0 or star. Instead of printing 0 or star, try to print row count. In the first row count is 1. Let that 1 printing 5 times through inner for loop. In the second row count is 2. Let the 2 is printing 5 times through inner for loop. In the third row count is 3. Let 3 printing 5 times through inner for loop. It's very simple. We are printing row count straight away. In the first row count is a 1. 1 is printing 5 times through inner for loop. After 5 times through inner for loop, then going to the next line. In the second row again, row count will be 2 through second inner for loop 5 times. Likewise, let's compile and run. Compilation and running, both are very success. We are getting 1 to 5. Row-wise data changing. In one particular row, same element, while moving to another row, a different element. See pattern 5. In the first row, I had to print 5. In the second row, I have to print 6, 7, 8, 9. In the first row count is 1, 1 plus 4. In the second row count is 2 plus 4. In the third row count is 3, 3 plus 4. In the fourth row count is 4, 4 plus 4. In the fifth row count is 5, 5 plus 4. Row-wise data changing. Row-wise data changing. First row 5, second row 6, then 7, then 8, then 9. You need to identify a small formula to get a 5 from 1, to get a 6 from 2, to get a 7 from 3. Just keep adding 4 for the current row count. Just compile and run. Compilation and run. Please observe, I want to print first row 5, second row 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Row-wise data changing. First row 5, all the columns 5 only. Second row 4, all the columns 4 only. Third row 3, all the columns 3 only. Next row 2, all the columns 2 only. Next row 1. So how to get a simple formula? If row count is 1, 6 minus 1, 5. In the first row, 5 will be printed. In the second row count will be 2, 6 minus 2 is a 4. In the third row count will be 3, 6 minus 3, 3 will be printed. So likewise, a simple development. Let's compile and run. You can see 5 to 1. If I want to get output, first row 9, second row 8, third row 7, then 6, then 5. Display content is 10 minus row count. Display content is 10 minus row count. 10 minus 1 for the first row, that is 9. 10 minus 2 for the second row, that is 8. 10 minus 7 for the third row. 10 minus 3 for the third row, that is 7. 10 minus 4, that is 6. Likewise. Let's compile and run. Please find out. I want to print pattern 8 as in the first row 1, in the second row 3, in the third row 5, next row 7, next row 9. Row count is 1 in the first row. 1 into 2 is a 2, 2 minus 1 is a 1. In the second row count is 2. 2 into 2, 4, 4 minus 1 is a 3. In the third row count is a 3. 3 into 2, 3 into 2 is a 6, 6 minus 1 is a 5. Fourth row count is a 8, row count is a 4, 4 into 2 is 8, 8 minus 1, 7. Next one, row count is a 5, 5 into 2, 10, 10 minus 1 is a 9. Just compile and run. You can see. Pattern 9, we had to print first row 9, second row 7, third row 5, then 3, then 1. For this purpose, a simple formula 11 minus row count into 2. 11 minus row count into 2. In the first row count is 1. 1 into 2 is a 2. 11 minus 2 is a 9. In the second row count is a 2. 2 into 2 is a 4. 11 minus 4 is a 7. In the third row count is a 3. 3 into 2 is a 6. 11 minus 6. It is 5. Likewise, we can able to print. Compile and run. A simple pattern development. Guys, numeric values we are printing. Till now, we have seen how to print the numeric values. Now let us see how to print alphabets. Please observe pattern 10. In the first line, we have to print A 5 times. In the next line B, in the next line C, then D, then E. For that purpose, what we are doing is, initially character A. In the first row, 5 times. 5 times A will be printing. A space, A space, A space. After printing 5 times, going to the new line. After going to the new line, C1 is incrementing to B, comma. In the next iteration, C1 plus plus. For outer for loop, we are incrementing C1 plus plus. It will go to the B. For second row, B space, B space, B space 5 times. Then going to the next line. In the next iteration, C1 plus plus. Current C1 is a B, B will go to the C. Then C will be printing 5 times. So row wise the data changing, but in a particular row, same data. In a particular row, same data. Let's compile and run. Please observe, row wise, keep incrementing, starting with P. First row P only, second row Q, then R, then S, then P. Row wise character is incrementing. Row wise character incrementing P to T. Compilation and running both very success. Compilation and running both are very success. Row wise changing. First row lowercase a, second row lowercase c, then E, then G, then I. So for that purpose, every time increment to 2 to the C1. Increment to 2 to the C1. Initial C1 is a for first row. For the second row, C1 should go to the C. That is why incrementing 2 units of ASCII code. Incrementing 2 units of ASCII code. Plus operator generates a numeric addition, integer addition. just to narrow it into char. Come on, convert into char. Just to compile and run, you can see pattern 13 starting with Z. Starting with Z, all 5 values in the same row, Z only. Next one, decremented to Y, then decremented to X. Every time, one value decrementing, one value decrementing. You can just to compile and run. You can see. Please check it out. C1 starting with uppercase Z, uppercase Z. In the first row, 5 times Z. Then while going to the next row, it is reducing 2 units of ASCII code, 2 units of ASCII code. You will be getting X, 5 times X. Then again 2 units are reducing. Again 2 units reducing. You can just compile and run. You can see.